More details on Ryan Nemeth's AEW complaint, his issues with CM Punk, and much more. With the ratings for Tuesday's episode of NXT on the CW network, Matt Cardona is returning to AEW/Ring of Honor. He's going to be competing for the Ring of Honor World Championship at the upcoming Final Battle pay-per-view. Dave Meltzer expresses his confusion and frustration with this year's Continental Classic tournament. Tony Khan opens up on AEW going after the casual fan. Brody King answers a New Japan Pro Wrestling Stars Open Challenge for Wrestle Dynasty. Plus, we have the ratings for Monday's edition of Raw on USA Network. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's begin with the developing story regarding the complaint from Ryan Nemeth to AEW regarding CM Punk and his treatment whilst in the organization. Now, yesterday afternoon, a report emerged detailing allegations from former AEW star Ryan Nemeth, who said that the promotion failed to adequately address his complaints of harassment at the hands of former AEW World Champion CM Punk. During today's Wrestling Observer Radio, co-host Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez broke down the timeline of the report and offered their own perspective. Even before Punk made his return to AEW last summer, Nemeth reportedly alerted former AEW Chief Legal Officer Mega Parek that he had concerns he'd be targeted by Punk, likely due to his friendship with Matt and Nick Jackson of the Young Bucks. Then, on the night Punk returned, Nemeth made a post on social media calling Punk, quote, the softest man alive, end quote, referencing Punk's promo from that night. This later led to a confrontation backstage, with Nemeth alleging that Punk threatened him. Quote, a couple of people had told me about it, and then they were like, don't worry, it's all settled. It's just a little disagreement, Meltzer said. Then a couple of days later, I kind of heard it's anything but settled. Now, despite receiving support from some members of the AEW staff, Nemeth claimed he was not booked by the promotion for 2 months after his confrontation with Punk. That changed in August when Nemeth was flown in for a taping of AEW Collision, a show that largely centered around CM Punk at the time. According to Meltzer, Punk saw Nemeth at the hotel the talent was staying at for the taping. Shortly after that, Nemeth was contacted and informed that his booking was made in error and he wouldn't be needed for the event. Nemeth was reportedly told later it was actually because of Punk's presence. The incident reportedly happened the same week that other AEW stars, including Hangman Adam Page and talent relations manager Christopher Daniels, were told they could not show up to a Collision taping because of the friction with Punk. In the report, it was emphasized that Nemeth doesn't necessarily believe Punk asked for himself or anyone else to be removed, and that the decision may have been made by someone else within AEW. Shortly after this, Nemeth was brought into another taping, and the wrestler claims that he was told to cut a promo with CM Punk being his target. The same day, Nemeth spoke to AEW's HR team, but did not receive a response in a timely manner. Nemeth was later interviewed as part of the investigation into Punk's altercation with Jack Perry that same month. Around this time, Nemeth received a response from AEW's legal team, which no longer included Parek, who Nemeth had previously felt comfortable dealing with. The wrestler was made an offer which entailed signing a non-disclosure agreement in return for a payment equal to 3 years of salary. However, that offer was soon taken off the table, and the report states that Nemeth is not sure why, but he would like the company to make the offer valid once again. Quote, the reasons that are unclear is that Punk was gone, so AEW wanted Nemeth to quietly go away, Meltzer said. Once Punk was gone, they figured, what's the point of the NDA? Speaking about Parek's departure from the company, Meltzer stated that the reasons behind the decision were never publicly disclosed. However, he pointed out that Parek left in the middle of all the issues surrounding CM Punk. Now, let's talk about the ratings for Tuesday's edition of WWE NXT on the CW network. Now, Tuesday night's WWE NXT episode averaged 593,000 viewers on the CW, down over 6% from last week. It's the lowest audience total for the show since October 29, and is NXT's second lowest viewership since moving away from the USA network. NXT drew a 0.13 rating in the 18 to 49 demo. That's down over 13% from last week, and is the lowest rating the show has done in that category since July 4th of last year. Competition wasn't a major factor in the numbers. There was an NBA game on TNT and a college basketball game on ESPN airing head-to-head, but they averaged less than 1 million viewers and did a 0.29 and a 0.22 rating in the 18 to 49 respectively. As compared to the same week in 2023 when the show aired on USA Network, NXT's overall viewership was down over 5%, while its 18 to 49 rating was down over 31%. So certainly a big drop-off in the key demographic for NXT this week. Now, a big surprise here when it comes to the upcoming Final Battle pay-per-view at the Hammerstein Ballroom. We now know who will be challenging Chris Jericho for the Ring of Honor World Championship. Ring of Honor will be returning to the legendary Hammerstein Ballroom in New York City for their annual Final Battle event on December 20th, with the 2024 edition being the first to take place in the iconic venue since 2018. And it seems that Chris Jericho has got himself a challenger for the Ring of Honor World Championship on that night. During the December 4 set of tapings for AEW Rampage and Ring of Honor on Honor Club, Jericho explained that when he gets to Final Battle, he wants to wrestle someone from New York and beat them on home soil, whether that be Tony Soprano, Frank Sinatra, or Johnny Rodz. This did prompt a New York native to answer the challenge, former WWE superstar Matt Cardona. Now, Jericho did attempt to call Cardona by his former name of Zack Ryder, but Cardona interrupted him and said he was going to beat him for the Ring of Honor World Championship at Final Battle before knocking Jericho's hat off his head. The feud actually started on social media when Jericho began calling himself the King of New York, something Cardona took offense to, as Jericho, despite being born in New York, is well known for being Canadian. With the match officially confirmed, it joins the Ring of Honor Women's World Television Championship match between Red Velvet and Legit Layla Hirsch as the only matches announced for Final Battle, with just over 2 weeks to go before showtime. Now, Cardona's appearance has surprised a lot of people, given his connections to GCW. A company AEW president Tony Khan recently pulled Ricky Starks from appearing for due to comments made by GCW staple Effie about Khan and his family. However, Cardona has wrestled for AEW on a number of occasions, with the most recent being a TNT Open Challenge match against Adam Copeland back in March of this year. Now, the Continental Classic is ongoing, and there's been a bit of a change this week as Juice Robinson has been pulled from the tournament and replaced by Commander due to Robinson suffering an injury. But Dave Meltzer has expressed his frustration and confusion just about the purpose of this year's tournament. Here's what he had to say.
Some people have said to me and go, "Oh, why are you so mad? We're going to get a bunch of good matches." Okay? Guess what? We get good matches every Wednesday night on this show. We get good matches on most Fridays and most Saturdays. That formula of just good matches for the sake of good matches, it doesn't work. And it's like, if there's anything that people should have learned from the last year, is that in and of itself doesn't work. That you put guys out there, you beat them all the time, even though they always have good matches, the ratings are not good for those guys. I mean, even frickin' Kyle Fletcher, until he beat Will Ospreay, he would go out there. God, the guy had incredible matches losing. Takeshi used to have incredible matches losing. They meant nothing for ratings because they lost all the time. And even when they start winning, they don't mean anything at first because it takes time to rebuild from the idea that these guys are enhancement talent jobbers, whatever you want to call them. And people aren't going to watch in great numbers squashes. You put squashes on WWE television, their numbers drop too. You know, I mean, sometimes you have to do them. Sometimes there's storyline reasons to do them. I'm not saying eliminate them. Sometimes you have to beat people. You have to, have 4-minute matches and beat people. Sometimes it's really cool to have a great action match with a guy like Commander. If Commander won a whole bunch of those matches and then lost a few, obviously the people beating him would mean more. But it doesn't, because he hasn't. So now it's like, yeah, we're going to get great matches. If that's all you want out of AEW, you're going to be in the minority. You need more than that. And it was just so frustrating because it's like the end result is not a bad one of Commander being in the tournament. Like many things, the execution of putting him in the tournament, why would he be in the tournament? Out of all the guys, why not Buddy Matthews? Won the 4-way. Commander was in it. Mortis was in it. Why is Buddy Matthews not in the tournament? Mortis and Commander are both in it. Neither of them even won that match. Why is Malachi Black not in this tournament? The guy never loses, right? He's lost like 2 singles matches in 3 years. Why isn't Roosh in the tournament? Why isn't, you know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't, it doesn't make any sense. And I know the idea is like, well, maybe you don't want these guys to lose matches. And it's like, that's a big problem. And the reason that G1 and N1 and all these tournaments in Japan are big successes is because somehow they put Okada and Tanahashi and all those guys in their prime, and Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi and all those guys, and they somehow make it work, and guys lose matches, and somehow it's not the end of the world.
Now, what about the casual fan? There's a lot of conversation always, isn't there, about the casual fan in professional wrestling, something WWE has been accused of catering to in the past, certainly at the moment with record revenue, record attendance, and good viewing figures. Many have suggested that looking at what WWE is doing, AEW needs to target the casual fans instead of just, as Tony Khan would call them, the sickos. Tony Khan was asked about this in a recent interview he did on the Battleground podcast. Here's what Khan had to say about AEW going after the casual fan.
Really, we absolutely look to the wrestling fans, and we're always looking to find ways to make new fans, but doing so in a way that's respectful to wrestling. Just in recent weeks, we had a great collaboration with Big Boom AJ, Big Justice, and the Rizzler. It was absolutely huge interest in Big Boom AJ, his comeback to the ring, and that match, AJ versus QT, and it helped us introduce new fans to AEW, but we did so with a great wrestling match. All of it was great for the wrestling fans, whether you're a huge wrestling fan that's been watching a long time and knows the sport, or somebody that's new to wrestling that maybe was just familiar with AJ and Big Justice and the Rizzler. It was something that everybody could enjoy, and that was a great collaboration, I thought. And I absolutely love hearing the fans' feedback. There's some people you're never going to be able to convince, and that's okay, but I want to try to convince those people and put on good wrestling every week, 52 weeks a year in AEW on TBS and TNT, and try to make new fans and make believers out of everyone.
Now, Wrestle Dynasty is on the horizon, and AEW star Brody King is currently focused, of course, on the Continental Classic tournament, in which he hopes to improve on his tally of 2023 of 6 points. But the big man has already got his sights set on big things in 2025, as he answered an open challenge issued by current champion in New Japan Pro Wrestling for the Wrestle Dynasty event on January 5th. Current IWGP Global Heavyweight Champion David Finlay wanted to prove that he could beat anyone and put the call out to anyone in the world of wrestling who believed they could get the better of the current leader of Bullet Club. That challenge has been answered by King, who sent a special video message to New Japan Pro Wrestling with some strong words for Finlay. Quote, "You have cemented yourself as one of the most dangerous men in New Japan Pro Wrestling. From the carcass, you look like you took the discarded pieces and built a dynasty. On January 5th at Wrestle Dynasty, I will take your dynasty and turn it back into a carcass. David Finlay, your war dogs are all bark. This dog bites." David and Finlay and King have crossed paths a number of occasions throughout their careers as both opponents in Ring of Honor and partners in New Japan Pro Wrestling. However, this will be their first ever televised singles match. The road to this match will be difficult for both men, as King still has at least 3 matches left in his Continental Classic campaign against Ricochet, Will Ospreay and Commander. He started this tournament off strong with a victory over Darby Allin, but fell to Claudio Castagnoli in match 2, leaving him on 3 points. As for Finlay, he'll be defending his IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship against Yota Tsuji at Wrestle Kingdom 19 on January 4, the night before the Wrestle Dynasty event. And finally, we have the ratings for Monday's edition of Raw on USA Network. The December 2nd Monday Night Raw not only acted as the fallout show from the highly anticipated Survivor Series Premium Live event on November 30, but it was also the 10-year celebration of The New Day, complete with a first TV appearance in 2 years for Big E. However, much like Survivor Series, The New Day as a trio is a thing of the past, as Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston turned their back on their former brother. There were a lot of tears flowing from WWE fans after the New Day segment, and it seems there were even more tears around in the United States, as WrestleNomics has confirmed that the December 2nd Raw averaged a total of 1.709 million viewers. This is not only a 15% increase from the November 25th episode that averaged 1.510 million viewers, but is also the highest average viewership Raw has earned since August 26, which acted as the go-home show for Bash in Berlin. As for the key 18 to 49 demographic, that also saw a big increase as well, earning a 0.54 number, which is 15% higher than 0.47 earned the previous week, and the highest number in the demographic since the aforementioned August 26 episode. According to Programming Insider, Raw was only beaten by the NFL game between the Cleveland Browns and the Denver Broncos on ESPN and the game's pre-game show, both of which won the night in both total viewers and 18-49 demo on all television. The December 9 Raw hopes to carry the momentum heading into the return of Saturday night's main event and will once again go up against the NFL, something WWE will have to contend with until Raw's move to Netflix on January 6. But there you go, guys. The latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right-hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.